his magic middies. Will they get you over the line this season? Will Jake have Tedesco this week? Maxie, the consistent keeper. Ryan Hadley, Australia's next test fast bowler. Timmy, the 2020 SuperCoach champion. And Savs, the Newcastle. Tommy Turbo tragic.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
All right, here we go.
You're now listening to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Jamin Salmons. We have wrapped up for round 7, and we're here to dissect the week. I'm joined by the 2021 SuperCoach champion, Tim Moody. How are you, Timmy?
I'm well. It's a weird week of SuperCoach. Some pretty underwhelming scores. Looks like not really anyone's going to be too chuffed with their week. But
it's a real weird one. I think I was looking at it at the start of today, and I was actually 6 players under 40, and there was a lot under 30 as well. So it seems like a lot of people were in similar boats, but it's kind of weird because certain players scored 80s, 70s, 100s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know how to dissect the week.
Yeah, I was just sort of having a quick go through it. There was lots of surprise big scores in there, Brayley from the Sharks is, tonned up. Egan Butcher got himself a big score, which we're wanting in the early start of the year. And just a lot of the guys we expected to maybe go a bit bigger didn't. It's weird. I'd be keen to see what the team of the week is this week. I'm sure there's still a really big score out there, but it's probably going to look really random.
I think that certain players like Latrell, Cody turned up, Nico got 80-odd, Cleary got 80-odd. So some of the popular players still did well. I think it's just having the right combination of certain players. And just a lot would have had to go your luck this way. It was a real weird week. But for yourself, how'd you go, and what was your good and your bad?
Yeah, well, so currently I'm leading 10 of 10 leagues, so I'll take that. That's really awesome. But other than that, it's only 1,077. So if you told me I scored 1,077 and was leading 10 of my 10 leagues, I don't think I'd believe it unless it was maybe like a bye round, like round 13 or something like that. So my good stuff, I guess, was probably Reece Walsh just doing it again and again, being so super consistent. I thought I was going to be leaning towards selling him after this week, but I know he's played some weaker sides along the road, but he just looks ridiculously good. I think I'm going to hold on to him until he lets me down, 2 weeks in a row, perhaps, I think. He's looking a bit better than Tommy Turbo in my side at the moment. I was pretty keen to move to maybe Teddy, but he had overly underwhelming score as well last week. It doesn't seem like that's the way to go for me, but Harry Grant scoring 31, very disappointing. Taruva, which we've discussed, is, starting to sort of really annoy us. Sort of seems like a play most weeks, but he's only really getting those sort of 50s and you're taking them, but got the lower ones in him. The base just isn't really there compared to the start of the year. Captain Cleary, like probably 80% of coaches, I reckon. And it looked awkward, that game. I just can't believe how much the Knights turned up against Penrith. I don't know what was going on. I rushed Brian To'o into my side in a panic trade just moments before that game because I was like so scared all week about not having him, but we never considered getting him. It was just the fact that moments before the game I had that itch, and then I heard Cooper Cronk go, I picked the Panthers to win and Brian To'o to have a field day, and I was like, he's going to have a field day. Of course he is. Get him in quickly. And so the only way I could do that was to sell Carraz, which was stupid at the time. Probably the dumbest move I've ever made because I made a boost, which I didn't need to do. I didn't need to nuff out. I got Warbrick in. Not Warbrick, Howarth in. Had I known I was going to get Brian To'o, I could have got like a starting player. There was like a 230 or 250K, maybe even a 270K player. But so it's a really weird trade thing for me. I got very lucky with Carraz going down. It's very unfortunate for him and the Dogs. The Dogs have been decimated with injuries, so I wish them all the best.
Yeah,
yourself,
I
mate?
mean, I mean, honestly, crazy trading it. I had no idea you did it, but Kraz is a weird one because I think he was. I mean, I don't know what the injury is, and I don't know how long it is, but
MCL, they're saying probably 3 weeks. So it's not.
yeah, so
It's probably a trade for a lot of owners unless they can be patient enough to hold.
yeah, so say he was back next week, the BE was no issue. I think he's personally a keeper till the end of the year, just
Yeah,
at least
100%.
till he drops off. I think today would have been a good day for him, but maybe again, he was choked of ball for the Rabbitohs game, which led to a lower score on his standards. Today might have been very similar for
Well,
the
he was at
Bulldogs.
least going to score 50 today, like he did last
Yeah.
week, and that's his base minimum, I think. And yeah, for me to go to that to Toto, who only scored 67 points, was really frustrating. I can't believe how much I was yelling at the screen that much. I don't really yell at the screen too much, only occasionally. But like, I just don't understand why Panthers weren't like getting their forwards to go to the left and setting to the right. Like they just were trying to go in all different places of the field. I don't know what their game plan was, but I don't know why they didn't exploit that weakness because it was there to be taken, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to that game in particular soon, but it's worked out for you. 1,077 is a pretty good score this week. And winning 10 out of 10 leagues, that's always a good kind of gauge of where you're at for the week. If you're winning in 10 out of 10, you're most likely to see green arrows, unless
very small ones this week, I'd say. Very small ones. I've only really beaten people by 30 to 100 points on max.
But to where we are ranked at the moment, I think 30 to 50 points is still a big jump. So I think regardless, it's going to be a nice little jump this week. For myself, 1,062. Latrell started off the week nicely with 121. Had Damien Cook in there for 58, which I'm slightly concerned with. For what I'm paying for him, I do want a bit more from him. I want someone with more upside at that price. But that being said, I'm not worried about I'm not going to trade him out or anything. Had the decision on whether to loop Latrell and take an A in my front row or trade someone in and captain Cleary. I thought Cleary captain was an obvious choice, and 109 at the time Latrell was on. It wasn't a loopable score, and I didn't want. And
this week it could be though.
Considering how the week was going already, I didn't want to take another AE score and have another sub 20 score in my side. So I took the risk and I traded in. Weirdly enough, I was looking at it all week, and Saturday morning, I was looking at what I could do. And Adam Fanua-Blake ended up in my side.
Wow.
Braden Hamlin-Uele was in my side for a little bit on Friday night. I traded him out. Jared Warrior-Hargraves was in my side for a bit. Traded him out. And they both scored like 56, and I was pretty shitty because I would have been happy with that. And they were at a price where it was like $450K. They didn't play buys though. So got in Fanua-Blake. It was a bit more expensive, scored in the first 4 minutes, and Jesus, my phone blew up. I was at a wedding where there was no reception at all. I guessed the Wi-Fi password to the venue to try and get some Wi-Fi, and I guessed it correctly. It was just the venue name with a 1 on the end. So I guessed it, and I got a bit of reception. I saw Fanua-Blake scored with the line break, so I was like, thank God. Played 45 minutes, scored 79. It's not the greatest, but I bought him in to plug in that hole till round 13. So quite happy with it. Someone like him, he's a SuperCoach gun of the past with attacking upside, so it's exactly why I got him. So
yeah, not a bad trade at all. I think for what you were trying to do, you're trying to sort of downgrade to sort of fund something else. It's the way to go. So, yeah, nice find. And he might not be scoring every week, but it looks like, if you can get maybe a little bit more than 45 minutes some weeks, I think you'll be laughing.
I could have held on to Stefano, to be honest, but like taking an AE this week with a loop, or next week I end up just waiting and playing Stefano, which is just as bad as an AE in my opinion sometimes. Like I think he's quite up there. So I'm pretty happy to go with AFB. I was looking at getting in Tapane, couldn't quite afford him because I haven't got Hines at the moment. So I think Hines is definitely the priority, and how he played on Friday night against the Roosters. he played good enough to make it hard for me to get him in, but I'm still going to be able to get him in, which, I mean, come lockout tomorrow, hopefully it works a treat. But Timmy, let's go to the first game. We've got the Rabbitohs versus the Dolphins. This was a pretty tight game until that Kenny Bromwich send-off.
Yep. Indeed.
Yep.
I got surprise packets there. You and Aiken, I thought, he's always been that sort of guy that people have brought in for the buys as well, with the big 91. I've been impressed by him and Jack Bird recently, who got that same dual centre wing second row. I think they're a similar sort of price too. So they might be one to look at for the buys. But, yeah, it was a really, really nitty-gritty game. It was a shame that, that 10 in the bin did cost him the game, but, it is what it is. But, yeah, look, I mean, Cody Walker's killing it still. I'm just really hoping he can pull up a little bit with the harder draw because he's, really doing a job on Dylan Brown at the moment. And obviously Cam Munster this week too.
Yeah, it was definitely a story of which 5'8" you had this week. That was the real difference. Having Cody Walker, like Jake scored above 1,100 this week, and you can put that down to Cody Walker. He doesn't have Dylan Brown. Everyone scored about 1,050 to 1,000, and that difference is Cody Walker. A bit annoying. He was, I think he was on like 42 points before the try assist came, before Kenny got sent off with a try, mind you. So
yeah.
He still,
it was looking grim for him for a while, yeah.
Yeah, he needs a lot of attacking stats to get to that point. So I don't know if he is a buy from now. I think he was a buy 2 weeks ago. And with the Rabbitohs, he does play the buy round, but with someone like even Latrell Mitchell with a tougher draw coming up, maybe on Tuesday I'll reveal what my plans are. But I'm looking at trading. I'll say it now. Latrell scored 121. Looks set to make 100K, go to 820. With a tough draw coming up, he will have a low break even, but I think a good way to generate money this year is going gun to gun and making money depending on draws. And my plan is to bank 200K by going Latrell to Teddy.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think, that was a tough game for the Roosters. Prior to him, missing the game through in the HIA a couple of weeks ago, he was looking like he was in everything. It was just a matter of centimeters, inches of him not actually icing those plays, or Sam Walker actually passing the ball a couple of weeks ago instead of someone else. And like he's definitely not down and out. I think he's a good option. The fact he's bottomed out for him is quite good. With on the Cody Walker thing, I think just and the Latrell thing. Look, I think more so for Cody, hopefully over the next few rounds, obviously people would want to continue to target him for the buys. With it being harder matchups, I'm hoping he does have, 30 after 30 into maybe a 50 and something like that, which will then start to see his cash slow down and maybe even drop quite a fair bit so we can pick him up at a more of a reasonable price come closer to 13. I think he might be around 13 trade-in target, but for 13, not beforehand.
Yeah, Cody Walker you're talking about?
Yeah, Cody Walker, yeah.
Yeah, I think so now too. Whoever you have in that 5'8" area, like you got Dylan Brown in now, do you?
Yeah.
So you got Dylan Brown in there now. He's doing a job, and I think especially with Cody Walker with the tougher draw, he's the kind of guy who does need to bully the lowest tier side. So with this one, Campbell Graham with another double. He's absolutely killing it this year, and we thought he couldn't go any better, and he just keeps on keeping on.
Yeah. No, he's looking very, very good. 73 with a double is probably not ideal, but still, you're going to take that any day of the week because he looks like he's in a lot of attack this year, with them going right a lot more as well.
We've got some questions coming through. Answer your question, ask your questions whenever you like. We'll answer them straight away or as quickly as we can. Stephanus Constantine, g'day, mate, on YouTube. We are only on YouTube now, by the way, just setting up for the next couple of weeks and what's to come. But Boyd, what do you think? Boyd, Boyd?
Boys. I think it's boys. Yeah.
Boys. What do you think of Barnett as an option until round 13? I haven't really looked at him, but we'll talk about it when we talk about the Warriors. Harry Taylor Byrne, think of holding Cody Walker given his draw round 11 to 19. I think if you got him now, you don't sell him prior to round 13.
Purely because no one else is really putting their hand up to say, pick me. Dylan Brown's draw does get nice, but he had a very nice draw today. The doggies were decimated once again. Mitchell Moses just is running that show and not really getting him involved in the game as much as I would like for having just picked him up. I thought this might be the week. But yeah, look, there's with a lot of easy draws, surely there's some bigger scores to come. If you can pump out 50s and 60s and get one attacking stat, he's going to jump up to that 80, 90s. So it's not too shabby.
That's it. And Fletcher Least, does Walker play Origin? I don't think he does, to be honest. I think there's Nico Hines, Matt Burton, Jerome Luai in front of him, and even Jack Whiten in that position. So I think he's kind of blacklisted from Origin, in my opinion. Not because he's a bad player or anything. I just think he didn't deal with the arena as well as they would have hoped. And I think he does prove that week to week, where he does get up for the Penrith games. I must say that. Even the Roosters games, like
set up a good try in the grand final 2 years ago, didn't he?
Oh yeah, for Stephen Crichton. Yeah, he does. He does step up in these games, but I think he has a bit of a brain explosion most of the time. So I don't think he'll get picked in Origin. But moving on, this was an Origin quality game. The Sharks versus the Roosters. The Roosters are a very weird one, aren't they? They've got a team full of superstars, but they just can't seem to get it together.
Crazy. Yeah, it's weird. I guess we can just go back to Robbo's time and his run for the finals, huh? I don't know what that's all about.
I guess compared to last year, that they've actually won a fair few compared to this point last year. I think they'd only won like 1 or 2 at this point last year. Now they've banked, I think, 3 with the bye. So, you know, they're going a bit better than everyone's giving them credit for at the moment.
Yeah, true. Yeah, just I think that with the stars that they do have, we'd expect them to sort of really be lighting it up, you know, and being a little bit more competitive. Last week, they sort of got done by the Storm and then obviously the Sharks this week. And you'd think that they would be a better side than the Storm last week, just on paper particularly, and be able to, I think even though it's down at Sharks ground, I still thought they'd be able to get the job done. It was only a 10-point loss, but still thought they might be able to go closer.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was a very close game right until the end. The Sharks just got away with it, and the difference was Nico Hines. Nico, like, even before the end where he set up a try for Jaden Brayley, he was just in everything, looking good. He's just a world-class player.
Break.
Yeah, he's
out.
He's a freak. Bro. So, sorry,
I was saying it's Blake. It's his bro, Jaden's.
What did I say, Jaden?
Yeah. It's an easy mix-up. I was just trying to pull you up so someone else doesn't.
Britton Nickera, 84, averaging 75 this year. He's on fire alongside Hines, looking good. Hamian Uele with a 57, someone I was eyeing off, and scored a line break towards the end. So I was a bit shitty there, but glad I held off and did what I did. Teague Wilton repays owners for holding with a 64. And on the other side of the park, Egan Butcher top scores. Brendan Smith with a 60. What are your thoughts on a potential
scored a nice try there? He scored a try in that too. So, like, he's been underwhelming most weeks.
Got sin-binned, though. He did get sin-binned.
Yeah, okay. So you got to allow that -8 and plus the minutes. Fair enough. Yeah. Look, maybe what was he at? Is he still 4s? Yeah, 435.
435 with a break even of 44. So he actually
probably 450 or something by the end of the round.
Yeah, 450.
You know, as a second option, yeah.
54, 52, 40, and then a 60 this week. And he scored tries in them. So, like, is it that appealing? He's not getting the minutes either, but I have no doubt he will be the talk of the town at one point again this season.
Sure.
Tedesco with a 42. I think this is an interesting one here because break even of 130 will go down to 600K. 600K with St. George next weekend for the Anzac Day clash. The Warriors, the Cowboys, then Penrith, then St. George before the bye. So they've got a pretty good draw. Tedesco, he always goes really nuts before the Origin period, and it's the other side of the Origin where he goes nuts again as well. I mean, if you're a Walsh and Turbo owner, what do you consider him at all?
I'd not yet. I was going to probably. I was hoping. It's a bit weird. I was hoping I'd see, Walsh not be as good for some reason because I was tossing up which one am I going to go, or if Turbo looks awkward again. He looked a bit better. He didn't look fantastic.
He did look good.
Yeah, not amazing. Yeah, so it's really awkward. I think for me, I probably need to strengthen up other areas of my side for now. And even though Teddy does look appealing with that draw and he's at a nice price, I think I'll need to make that decision in a couple more weeks. Hopefully Teddy shows me a few more signs and one of those guys drop off a bit to make my decision easier.
Yeah, that's it. I think for someone like myself who needs to get Hines in, I think it's a like going Latrell to Teddy to fund
100%
getting Hines in. I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion. Latrell with a tough draw. We saw what he did last year, but Teddy, he's yet to fire a shot this year, and I don't see him not doing it at some point. So, I'm really keen on that trade. Not much else going on here. Joey Manu, 33. He's 716K. With a 33, he goes down to about 630K or something like that. I mean, at the price and what he's been delivering, I can't consider it just yet, especially with all the gun center wings that are going around at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not going to play the 13. He might be ideal to pick up for round 14. Hopefully he doesn't pick his act up too much before between round 8 and 14 and go up too much in price for us. If he can sort of have averagey sort of game 60s, those sorts of scores in him, I think it'd be ideal to pick up for that round 14 and get him for 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I think that's where I'll look at him.
Yeah, that's it. We've got a comment here from Connor. Glad I bought Smith this week. A good buy there. And Walsh always struggles first half. It's annoying. He was I was loving life. He got that try assist from the charge down, which at first I was like, I don't know if they'll give that. They gave it. It deserves
I know
it.
I'm an owner, but I'm happy with it just because I think if he doesn't do that, then who knows where the kick goes. And exactly.
Of course. I've seen some people say it's not a try assist. I think you're just a salty non-owner if you're trying to argue that that's not a try assist. I think them sort of players do deserve it. Marty Tapau picked up the ball and passed it, so I think he deserves something as well. But that being said, doesn't really matter. Manly defeat Melbourne. I tipped this, and I actually I nearly had a perfect round, but I tipped St. George today, which let me down. It was looking pretty good at one point, but Cherry Evans top scores with 104. Who would have known against Melbourne? But at Four Pines Park, anything was possible. Coming back from that performance against Penrith last week, we were talking about Tommy Trbojevic, 57 against Melbourne. I mean, a player that price, you probably expect a little bit more from, but they are playing Melbourne, and I think the signs were good. He looked like he was running at 100%.
Yeah, close enough. He still doesn't look, to me, the 2021 monster that he was, but it seems like he's coming on a bit more, especially from last week, I guess, at least. There was concerns for myself that he might still be holding some sort of issue there, despite saying he was okay. But yeah, look, let's have a look at their draw, what they've got going on here, because I think that's going to be important.
They've got the Tigers next week.
That's awesome. Okay, they've got the Tigers and the Titans, so we like that. Then they've got 2 tough matchups in Brisbane and the Sharks, followed by the Raiders, Newcastle. He'll obviously be out
Newcastle
for Newcastle game
in
because it's
round
round 13.
13.
Yeah. So,
It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because after that Gold Coast game, round 10 is Magic Round at Suncorp. Last year, Brisbane put on 50 against Manly. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than it has been in previous years. But then, like the Sharks at 4 Pines, they got a good record against the Sharks. So it's a bit of a tricky one there.
it's
Canberra,
so hard to get a hold of this year, man. Like just to get a read of which teams are going to win the game. Usually, if you can get an idea of which team's going to win the game, you've got an idea that they're probably going to get more attacking plays. There'll be more players with higher scores in there, and it's just really hard to do. And even when we consider the draw coming up, sometimes that's all out the window because I thought that the Storm would be able to do a pretty good job still with Munster at the back. I thought I was really scared about him there. That didn't really eventuate. Obviously, I think he goes all right still back there, but it was just a poor game from him, and I guess the Storm across the board in general by their standards. But yeah, shocker, man. Like it's very hard. Like whoever wins this year's done well. It's it's tough to pick SuperCoach at the moment.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And I feel like we've spoken about it a few times already. It's just so hard to pick not only who's a good matchup, who's a bad matchup, but is this week going to be this certain side's bounce back week? Like that always happens. Like it always goes in rotations. And I think the best way to look at it is the Cowboys. They're just going to concede points every week. And the Tigers are going to concede points every week. And then other sides like Manly, the Roosters, even the Dolphins, Gold Coast are going to go in patches. Canberra as well. They're very up and down as well. So it's very hard to judge. And I think you've kind of got to take it week by week. You can't really say, okay, this is a tough draw because that week they might have got beat by 50 the week before. There's no way they come back from getting beaten by 50 and putting on another shit performance. The Bulldogs did that this week, though. So maybe
there's not much they can do about that. I think they've had a really rough trot. I mean, it was only really Carreras going down, but they had to shift things around. They brought Ockenbaugh on the wing and then having Alamotti on the wing, who Ockenbaugh's, put on a lot of size and he's not the greatest winger anyway. And then Alamotti on the wing, which is, having him a bit out of position. Just everything else is just shuffled around a bit. Having one less player in their rotation hurts that early too. So, yeah, it's tough. But it looks like the Dogs, I get the vibe they're going to be a bit of a walkover going forward too, just because of how much they are under the pump with.
I do too. It's kind of like this every year where they've started a lot better than they have in previous years, but they go through a patch where they're just walkovers. And then they get to the point where everyone captains a really popular player like Cleary and they put up a performance. And then for weeks after that, they're like the dogs of war. It's very frustrating. On the other side of the park, Will Warbrick, top score with a 65. I mean, if you held on, you're happy. If you sold, you're not too discouraged by it because 65 still, it's not going to break the bank. You haven't missed out on much there. Munster with a 39. Elias Katoa with a 38 as a popular option. In a game like this, not very high scoring at all. Does this make you reconsider Elias Katoa as a keeper option?
No, I think that this was just a tough game. More often than not, I think the Storm have been using him quite well and he's been looking great. So just on one mediocre score, I'd be not even looking anywhere near selling him yet. Maybe he might not be a season-long keeper when you add up all the other potentials that you might want in there. Like if Crichton comes back quite well after a few weeks, you could have him, Murray, Fafita. There could be, a whole bunch of other people that emerge as well. But at this point, not selling him for a long time anyway. There's the fact that the Storm do have a buy in 2 rounds is awkward. I've got a few Storm players there, so one of them's probably going to have to go. It's probably going to be Warbrick, although I don't play him most rounds. I just feel I'm going to be short on numbers. Another one for me I might sell will be Christian Wells, just based on the fact that probably get an Origin call up, and 50s are okay at the price, but it might be time to upgrade him to get 2 gun. So for me, I've got Tino there. I'll probably either hold on to Tino over the Origin period, who's been a bit underwhelming, got sent off, which was awkward this week, and then go up to Tarpany, who also didn't have that much of a great game this week. So Payne Haas, for you's been killing it.
You know why?
Why's that?
Why has Tarpany been doing shit?
I can't tell you. The mullet, it's gone.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's your philosophy. The mullet looks shit. Tino's mullet is flourishing. I know he got Simbin, but he was looking on for a big score on the weekend. But that Simbin just killed it. Warriors versus North Queensland. I was at a wedding with no reception. Did I already tell this story?
You did mention that. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if you've told this story, but you have told us you're at the wedding.
Oh. No, I did.
And you're logged into their postcode. That's fine. It's been a long weekend.
That's it. Top scorer, Adam Fanil-Blake. Very happy with that. But on the other side of the park, Ruben Cotter, the other front rower, looks like he's coming back into relevance a little bit. 559K. Stays about the same
high in that. Yeah, so it looks like he might be just set for 50s, 60s anyway. So it might not be a rush sort of thing, but if you like the look of him and think he might be able to keep it up, but I don't think he's only scored 2 tries in his career. So,
and potentially playing Origin, so a bit awkward there. Jackson Ford, a very popular option with 40 points. I think he could be a sell soon.
Sure, he's made some good money for people.
Plays round 13 though.
Yeah, okay, so you'll take those 40 points in round 13. It's just a matter of how long do you want to hold on to him. If you can make your team significantly stronger by moving him on, upgrading him, or potentially even downgrading him to fund up some cash, it's probably not great downgrades. But if you were to upgrade him, like say you don't have Fafita in your side, I think that's someone you want to look to really get in there ASAP. But Ford's made some good money. I didn't pick him up. It was a little frustrating that he scored that try last week that really helped that cause. But he's made 130K. Break even was quite low already, so going up a little bit extra this week. Maybe hold another week or so. See if you can get a little bit more. Yeah. But definitely, it's tough. Like at this point of the year, if you're playing overall, you kind of do want to hold on to your players that are buy coverage. Every week we get closer to it. It seems more and more a better move to do.
And by holding him, it means you're saving another trade. So I think that's very important for this time of year, especially
just
for
don't
overall.
Play him. Yeah, I wouldn't be playing him anymore. Yeah,
and head to head, he'll end up scoring a try next week as well. It's been happening with all these sheepies. Campiera, Will Warbrick this week. Bloody Tyrell Sloan scored 86 this week.
Wow, I didn't notice that.
My bloody centre wing benches. I played Jackson Ford this week and it's got a 40. Tyrell Sloan
burnt you last week, that's why. It's because we get burnt by one of these players the week prior. Yep. Like for myself, like Nathan Cleary, I didn't captain him last week, so I was 100% doing it without any consideration. But I could have gone a VC on him and then taken as an AE and then gone. If I didn't like that, I could have gone to Walsh, which would have looked like a better option.
Yeah,
they might have worked out pretty much for muchness with the AE anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Valentine Holmes, 46 with a try, becoming very frustrating.
Yeah, the scores at the start of the year were okay. Despite the fact that he was having easier draws, we wanted much bigger ones from him, a lot more tons and high 80s, 90s. But because he was scoring okay without doing a great lot, it made him a hold. For me, I was very frustrated that I made that step decision of selling to Kraz because I was like, I could have just sold this is like before I knew about Garrick. I could have sold Val Holmes to To'o, if I really wanted To'o, and I wasn't even thinking about trading him in, but if that was like stressed about it, I should have had the the intelligence to go, okay, I'm going to bring him in because I'm going to panic. But I do some impulsive stuff sometimes with SuperCoach, and that's I don't know, worked out for me in the past in some ways, but other times it can be a little bit detrimental because you feel like you've thought about everything all week and then you make these snap rash decisions. But yeah, I think Val Holmes might be for me someone on the chopping block with Origin looming as well. Actually, it's probably my way to go to Garrick. I've been thinking, how am I going to do Garrick? And that's probably the way to do it. So,
with Origin coming up, I think he's definitely
it's a slam dunk almost, isn't it?
Yeah, he's probably got to go out. 670K at the moment. Won't lose a great deal of money. Probably loses about 10K, so it goes to 658. And with Garrick still over 700K, it's not that much of a jump, but I don't know how I feel about it because I think he's still got a big game in him before round 13. And
he's got Newcastle next week. So Newcastle up defensively for Penrith. Can they be up again? They conceded 32 points to Manly the week prior. The Cowboys' attack hasn't been looking that great, but with a few people back recently, it might help. They've just been sort of playing musical chairs a bit with their starting side. Everyone's sort of moving around a bit. Your buddy Granville starting at prop, and Cohen Hess, I think we went back to prop after being on the bench, and Dunn going to the bench after being in prop. Yeah, lots of things moving about. So, look, if that's the only way I can get Garrick next week, maybe I can move on Calm Pereira with the price. I'll have to have a look at it or something like that. I'd like to maybe hold him one more week, but then the draw's getting a bit harder for them, and the draw's been pretty easy, and it's not been that good for him. So, yeah, I don't mind the sell that doing it next week either.
Jesus, have a look at that. Garrick, 121, 113, 105. His last 3 appearances versus the West Tigers. And
yeah, they're probably under the pump more so than ever. But I guess we're talking in the chat. One of the Tigers fans, Justin, was sort of saying that could be their game to do an ambush, and they've got to do one sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. And Manly are the type of side where I don't have the world of confidence that they're going to come out and put him to the sword either. Just on, it seems like they are quite up and down, but the fact that they beat Melbourne, I'm pretty happy with that. Sean Johnson keeps on keeping on. I think if you started with him, Jesus, you're happy, but I think it's definitely time to move on.
It'd be nice if we could have 4 or 5 halfbacks. The 5'8" position's a bit awkward. It'd be nice to have Mitchy Moses and Sean Johnson in your side as well as Cleary and Hines, wouldn't it?
That's it. Penrith versus Newcastle. This was probably the game of the week.
For SuperCoach, you'd think it would have been, yeah.
No, not for SuperCoach, but just for in general.
For footy, it was a gritty game. Yeah, it was definitely a good game, 100%. I mean, Newcastle, not as a Panthers fan, it was frustrating, but yeah, Newcastle really turned up.
Yeah, Newcastle come out, scored 3 tries straight off the trot, and it never happens to Penrith where 3 tries just go in so easily. Their goal kicking let them down. My good old Lockie Miller, 32 points. He got -6 in missed goals. That's an 18-point swing. That's 50 points if he gets them. So I'm a bit shitty with that, but yeah, it was a great game. Cleary updated to 86 from 60, so that was quite nice. Got given a try contribution, but only 1 try assist. So did he get that try assist for Dylan Edwards? Yes, he must have. No, for Jamin Salmon.
Yeah, that was a standout, obvious one, of course. Yeah.
So he got it 86. I think that's a pretty solid captain option.
Oh, especially in like a 16 to 15 game and scoring 80 still. It's Nathan's a pretty safe captain week in, week out. I will say unlucky to the Knights. I think Knights fans. I mean, with Jerome's lovely locks doing us a bit of a favour there, getting a hair grab. I think if I was not a Panthers fan, I probably wouldn't have been a big fan of that. I
Yeah,
guess
what are your thoughts on it? Is it a penalty?
I guess we've all, he's pulled his hair, but one of the commentators made the comment like, "Why don't everyone just grow their hair to their ass, and then you can't tackle from behind," sort of thing. Maybe he should tie it up. I don't know, but I guess the players have the right to also express themselves with their hair as well,
Yeah.
don't they? I'm a big fan of hair in rugby league, so I'd hate to see everyone with shaved heads.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward one, eh? Because like if someone grabs the jersey, that's not a penalty.
No.
So yeah, I don't know where I sit on it because I do think it is a
He had the
penalty.
jersey in his hand as well as the hair. It wasn't like he just grabbed the back at the top of his
Yeah,
hair.
okay.
Or seeing it, I was like, "Geez, we're lucky to get away with that one."
Yeah, I think you can if the hair's there and it's the only thing you can grab. I think you shouldn't be grabbing it. Like I know it's instinct, but I don't think it.
His hair's really long. It comes to at least which was well past his shoulders. It's like the middle of his back almost. And he had a lot of jersey in it as well. So
that's not how you tackle. Like just tackle.
but he was running away from him. He just reached out to grab him all he can, So there's nothing wrong in what he did. I don't think. If any other player, he's made a great try saver there because he was going probably.
Yeah, it's a very tough one because obviously if you hit someone in the head, you don't do it on purpose. But it's just
well, I guess Nath, we could have iced it a bit easier too with Nath copping a bit of a lazy one from Fitzgibbon. It wasn't a big shot, but he clearly went for his head. It was a weird one because after we kicked the field goal, I don't know if you can kick a field goal and then get a penalty after you kick the field goal to kick another 2 points. I don't think I've seen that happen.
I guess with tries, they can award a penalty try that allows them to have 2 points. But in that situation, the refs are under so much pressure that I don't blame them for not actually blowing it because, like, if they blow it, it's all about should this be a penalty or not, like blah blah blah. Whereas if they don't blow it, it's kind of just swept under the rug. So don't blame him for not. Greg Marju with a 42, a popular player. He's owned by 20% of super coaches. Looks okay, but I guess playing against Penrith, you don't really expect much else. They got a good game plan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm an on-noter, so I was really chuffed to see Miller and Marju go low for once. I think, he's definitely a great option week in, week out. I mean, if you can score those points just in base, that's fine. I mean, I was really thought that we'd target him a bit more. And I thought this could be the game where he might get dropped potentially if Brian does put like 3 or 4 on him quite easily. But they didn't go right enough. Stephen Crichton had glue hands a fair bit. Marju, he's in a red hot dig, man. I think he's trying to improve his defense as well. Like you can see he is.
It would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, he's making a good effort.
In Penrith's video sessions, do you think someone's speaking to Tago at all about passing the ball to Taruva?
Well, I think they're probably just telling him to keep playing his game because his running game's been so elite and he's been breaking the line so well. So I guess he's just got to stick to what works for him. And when he thinks there's the right opportunity, then he'll do it. But as owners of Taruva, it's annoying.
It's very frustrating. Played him for this game just thinking that there was a bit of upside in it. Yeah. He's based to start the year, 44 and a 50 to start the year. I think a lot of teams were targeting his edge and kicking the ball to him. So I think that's why he was getting a lot. That's why a lot of base stats from his kick return meters. And I think they've realized that whoever they kick it to, they're running the ball back for as many meters as they can. Like
Sorry, I was just going to say the Knights had a fucking fantastic game plan. I heard them interview Frizzell before the game. They said, the back three for Penrith are really, really, do a great job for them, getting him out of trouble. Has there been any focus on that? And he said, yeah, we've done our homework sort of thing, and we're feeling pretty good about it. And they just absolutely just kept kicking it to Taruva to keep Dylan Edwards and also To'o sort of out of it. And I mean, Taruva's still pretty fast and can make up those meters, but less tackle busting ability, I guess, than the other blokes. He's still sort of awkward, but yeah, I think that was a good game plan by him.
That's what they were doing the first 2 rounds, which I guess because they did that the first 2 rounds, it's worked. Like Penrith didn't perform in the first 2 rounds, whereas like I don't know so where are the base stats? Like he was getting base stats in the first 2 games. If that was the game plan, then where are they?
I think they're just getting they knew that kick was going there. They were getting their defense on him. There's probably less tackle bust along that as well. Yeah, so they're doing their work in defense on that, and that by slowing that down, it slowed the rest of us getting the roll on. So that I really feel for them because they deserve that win.
Yeah,
I'll take it as a Panthers owner though.
Tyson Gamble's field goal was amazing. Yeah. Like it was as good as clear as the other week. It probably not as like he had a bit more time, I reckon, but it was still really good. And then Cleary just wow. Well, what a gun, honestly.
Yeah,
like
just outside, just in front of the 40 line too. I was thinking to myself when he was about to kick that, I'm like, don't do it. Just, kick it into their corner and try keep them down there, force a mistake. I didn't want him giving away a 7 tackle set.
Yeah.
And he just iced it with confidence after missing the first one.
I would have liked him to see him take it from 2 meters back. So we got 5 extra SuperCoach points.
Yeah, I don't think he was thinking about that.
Damn it, Clear. We've got some comments here. Last year, there were about 20 sim bins from Paycheck on YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
There have been about 40 this year so far. So it's really affected the games. And honestly, this is why we can't pick it. There's so many sim bins that the games are close. Yeah, once these sim bins happen, like have a look at the bloody Dolphins game. That was so close. Sim bin happens, gone. You're done. Even the Titans game, Tino being sim binned would have been a turnaround.
That was a tough one, man. They called him offside, and he was offside, and he sort of ran back 10 meters, and then got involved in the tackle, which was fine. And there was a little bit of slowness on the tackle. It wasn't. I give it a penalty. It's not a 10 in the bin. It didn't look like they were going to score from the play, and it's not like they got plenty of warnings. I think they're just very trigger happy. If you're going to be sending people off for 10 in the bin, save them for the head contacts, because I think there's enough of them in the game and that are still getting 10 in the bin.
I think so too. Like the plays that are getting sim binned for these head contacts versus someone holding.
Oh, like Dane Gay guy probably, today said also too, you'll think he probably dropped the C-bomb or something like that. For him to have got sent off by the ref for back chatting with the ball in his hand after getting tackled, trying to earn a quick play the ball. Yeah, so he was just trying to earn a quick play the ball, gets up and sort of spells the ref. Like not Marsh just said one thing, so I'm sure he probably said, "Fucking have a look, yeah." C-bomb. I can't imagine any other word that may have caused so much offense. But come on, man. Don't send it off and change the game.
Yeah, they're getting too trigger happy. It's no good. Crazy Praying Mantis, Penrith played poorly and still managed to win. Tigers played their best and get flogged. That's a funny one. I think the
Tigers get the 2 points this week, though. Good on them.
Yeah. Oh, I heard it was a close matchup, but the Tigers just got there. So good on the Tigers for getting a win this week. We've got the Titans versus the Broncos. There's a lot we can talk about here. Reece Walsh keeps on pumping out the scores. So 101 again after scores of 105, 95, 84, 99, 86, 101.
Can't see a guy doing that until he stops doing it. I
mean, I've been encouraging people to do it, but how can you?
I've marked him down as a seller after this round
after
of the
this
week
week,
after.
Yeah. I think he's their attack. Like Parramatta is a pretty easy matchup in my opinion.
They've shown that a bit, haven't they? Yeah. Tigers almost did a job on him the week prior.
Yeah, and then they've got Rabbitohs, who defensively they're not like the strongest defenders. Manly, Melbourne, Penrith, maybe that's where you start to consider it. But I think I've been encouraging people to sell him after this week. I don't think I can push that narrative after this
himself. Week. Yeah, he's injecting himself in the game. Like even like when it does look a bit grim, sometimes a couple of games going into halftime when he's been on 5 or been on 9 or something like that. He's in elite form at the moment. He's just sort of he's spraying Katoni Staggs at some point, just sort of telling him, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, do better. And he just got so much confidence at the moment to be, just back at the club just after not being there last year, I guess. And then sort of, it seems like he's running the show to an extent outside of Reynolds there.
Yeah, that's it. Dave Fafita, top scored with 82 for the Titans. I think he's been great this year. Try contribution 4 points, 34 points in tackles. Got a line break, I guess, but he's
in beast mode. Yeah,
and I think I've talked about it every week. I just can't wrap him enough for being so good. Payne Haas, 27 points in tackles, 10 in tackle busts, and 34 in hit ups. Like he's just beast.
Yeah, I got this one wrong. I really felt like with the Broncos doing jobs on teams and he'd get reduced minutes and that would slow his score down. It looks like he's not having to play major minutes and he's still getting the job done when he is on the field because he probably knows what his involvement's going to be. So, yeah, look, really hurts not having him because he's doing it consistently, especially when it's a bit of a wasteland in front row at the moment. Yeah, seems like the pick of the bunch.
That's for sure. It was such a last minute decision for myself as well, getting him in to start the year. He wasn't being talked about at all in the preseason, but I think this has been his best start to the year in forever, and he's kept it up. And
I think people were concerned about the off-field, things. Obviously his mum's the dramas, I guess, as well. But yeah, I think I sort of had a chat to you at one stage at some point and said, I reckon he's the type of guy, didn't pick him, but he's the type of guy that would go out there and prove a point. Doesn't want people talking shit about him. Also doesn't like people treading on his shoes.
Yeah, you don't want to talk shit about him either. He's a bloody big dude. Campiera, 63, scores another try. And, 5 break even, makes about 45K, goes to 500K.
Hurts for people who sold him, because he did look like it's kind of you could justify moving him on to someone else when he hadn't even gone up much after a few poor scores.
I think I'm still going to consider selling him this week. I think his break even will still be quite similar to not to what it is now, but it'll be about at his average.
He's probably peaked in price. He might make a little bit more, and you milk a little bit more out of him. But yeah, you get that 500K for sure. You could definitely make the most of that money and plug in someone who's going to do a job consistently and not make you worry. Do I play him or do I not play him each round? So I played Campiera last week and it killed me.
And it's funny.
He can't get right.
These cheapies just go in and out, and like they go low one week, high the next week. And I'm so sick of people complaining, I would have looped Campiera. If I didn't have Campiera in my side, I thought he was going to get 8 or something. But geez, that's what these cheapies do. That's what they're there for. Like they're not going to score 8 points every week. If they were, they're probably not doing their job NRL wise, and they're probably going to get dropped. So if they're still in the side, they're doing their job, and his job is to score tries because he doesn't make meters. He doesn't get points from doing work. He gets points on his side for
his speed.
For his speed, and speed equals tries in the NRL. Guys, this is probably our second or third last episode doing this Zoom thing. Actually, we'll probably still do the Sunday wrap-ups with Zoom, but we're headed to the Picklebet Studios on our first episode there is Wednesday the 26th. It's been pushed back a week, but thank you guys for signing up. Using the code TURBO with Picklebet, you can get the best NRL markets. AFL markets, and plenty more. We have very specialty markets for SuperCoach experience every week there. And they've been really good to us. We had a meeting with them on Friday, and they're loving it. They're loving our content. They're loving you guys signing up.
Good people
And
at Picklebet. Yeah, awesome. Mr. Jones there, wonderful man.
it's wonderful, man. Using the code Turbo will get you into Picklebet. Make some bets, but make sure know what you're really gambling with. Head to gamblinghelponline.com.au and you can get the best help there. Moving on to today's game, Raiders versus St. George. Timmy, how do you see this game?
It was, not that exciting for me because I didn't have any players in it. I was having a good look at Tarpany because he's someone that's on my radar to bring in pretty soon. I think if he is for a lot of people as well. So if you don't know him, the low scores or not having a big one's kind of helpful, but it also sort of makes you think, oh, is he the guy? He hasn't really done much this year, has he? We've been saying for a while now that he's scoring okay without that, the bunch of offloads and the extra attacking stats in there, but they're not really happening. But I think I'm confident enough to give him a run in the Villiers Army in coming weeks. Probably not this week, just because I'm probably more focused on getting Garrick.
He's also got a bye next week, so
there you go. Yeah, so maybe the week on he returns from that bye might be a time I look at upgrading him, Welch to him when Welsh is on the bye.
Do you think with someone like him, you've got to wait and see? Just wait for one performance for him to come out, because he's not
really, because I'd say if you don't have Payne Haas, get Payne Haas, but there's now only 5 more rounds before Origin. So I feel like, are you getting your value out of 5 games of Payne Haas? If Payne's scoring 60s and 80s, 70s and 80s up to tons, and the other blokes are only scoring in the 50s, then you probably just do rush Payne in and pay up for him. Yep. But I'm hoping that the likes of Tapine and Fasil Malari from my side can have some more involvement. Tino's making a lot of tackles. He's an absolute weapon in defense. He's just they sort of stat when I was watching this game, which blew my mind. The Titans were something like 32 points in the positive when he's on the field, and when he's on the when he's off the field, it's like similar to equal in the negative for the year. So it just shows how much his involvement on the field in defense helps their side out, but he's not having enough runs for my liking. Mo Fodawaker is looking very, very good, though. He had a blinder of a game, and he might be someone we could look at as well. But yeah, Tino Tarpany for me, I think I'll still do it because I know from what we saw last year, he does have the ability to do it. And, his scores aren't terrible. So no one else other than Haas is really lighting it up.
Still scored 49. It's probably the lowest he's going to go. So loses about 20K, goes to 620. So hopefully he can hit his straps. Jared Croker, 35. A lot of people getting him in this week.
Okay, look, the thing is, they've just lost Kotrick.
They just lost Kotrick. He scored 4 goals on the weekend. So today, sorry. So that's 16 points. It's 19 points without goals. Obviously, with the goals, you're buying him for that reason. But
might be a better chance to stay in the side. I'm not too sure about how I don't follow the Raiders top 30 squad too in depth. Harley Smith-Shields had dropped out of their side. I'm assuming he slots back in, unless my first thought when Kotrick went down is potentially this might be a cheapie for us in the coming weeks. But I think that they'll probably just slot Harley Smith-Shields back in there, which probably means Croker's spot is a little bit more secure than what it might have been.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Xavier Savage actually played reserve grade on the weekend, so I think if he comes back, he played on the wing though, which is very interesting. I don't know what is going on there because Seb Chris, like he's doing an all right job, but he's not a fullback.
Yeah, he lacks the speed and potentially also the attacking prowess that Savage could offer. Savage is not an amazing ball player, but he is very fast and elusive. And I think he'd probably be the option. They'd probably put him there. Seb Chris might go to a wing, I think, and then having
Jared Croker. Jared Croker has been good on the wing in the past. He's a good kind of when they put up the high balls, he's really good at like jumping for them. But I think Seb Chris will be the better kind of guy for yardage, which I think potentially they might go for. But it's a very interesting one. I can't really go near him until he comes back and gets named for his third game. But Corey Horsburgh played 71 minutes, 64 points, 488K, loses a bit of money this week, but
he's having a go.
Front row is a wasteland at the moment, and he looks like he's set for a big minute role at the Canberra Raiders.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. I did hear somewhere, I think it might have just been one of the Fox footy shows, might have been Matty John show or something, them sort of saying that he's a real goer and, the type of player that Queensland like because of his, grit. There's a lot of people to slot into that to try and, obviously there's a lot of potential other options there. So I don't know that he does get the call up, but it would suck if we brought him in, he keeps killing it and then does get that call up. But yeah I don't mind him, at all.
Very good. Moving on, St. George, Tyrell Sloan, 86. Holding him till round 13. I think he's the kind of guy who can get you a big score on the bye week. So it'd be crazy to sell him beforehand. Lomax, on a lot of people's radars, 30 points, missed all his goals today, which was unlike. Oh, no, he got one. My bad. Very unlike Zach Lomax. So hopefully he bounces back. Jack Bird, people talking about him this week. Another 57, played on the edge. Murdoch Masilla got dropped to last minute, which was not good. I was considering playing him this week, so I'm glad that I made a decision to put someone in there. But yeah, not a lot in this game. I actually had 16 out of my 17 players play leading into this Sunday, so I wasn't that excited for Sunday's footy. But moving on to the Eels and the Bulldogs, Max King, 69. He's definitely one of the front row options that you could consider at 600K. If he was playing around
dual flexibility as well, which is nice. If he was
playing around 13, I would be much more keen, but he's not. Ryan Madison, 87. A lot of people have their ears pricked about him. And of course, Mikey in our chat, as soon as he gets a try assist, I really want Madison. Loves chasing points, doesn't he?
Mikey. No, Mikey just likes to play eyes up SuperCoach and see what he sees and then react to it, I guess. But I don't think Madison's going to be someone that too many people could discard, because the chats I'm in, a lot of people are sort of talking about bringing him in. So I think he's going to be a very popular purchase. We'll have that coverage for 13 as well. It seems I kind of like what Parramatta are doing now with having Cardi go to the bench, because I don't own Cardi for one, but on paper they look a lot better. I think having Hopgood,
I think so
and
too,
on the field, and on the field as well, and then having Madison shift back into the middle, have Cardi come on, Hopgood stays on and then goes off for a little bit and comes back into the middle. They just seem a lot stronger with Hopgood out there making tackles for a lot of the game as well. And he's running games still pretty handy, showing that he wants to offload as well. So I'm really glad I held that fella. Wasn't an amazing score for a starting Hopgood, mind you, considering, the start of the year, how big he did go. But and for a round 13 player, I'm just hoping he doesn't get the call up to Origin for the Queensland side as well. It's going to be a weird one. The Blues, I think, is a pretty easy team to predict, but the Queensland side always got a lot of surprises. So you never know who's going to go into that squad, and that's the one that I find a bit hard to predict.
I think the Queenslanders are pretty easy to predict.
They pick
actually.
and stick as much as they say they do, but there's always a lot of surprise inclusions, like Cotter and if people aren't available, then they always pick some real random guys just based on, having a go rather than more their elite status, I think. Whereas Blues pick elite status and Queenslanders pick gritty guys will have a go.
Yeah, I think Hopgood's definitely going to be in the conversation, but like with New South Wales, Freddie bloody dropping Addo-Carr last year for absolutely no reason. I will not forgive Freddie for that. I know Addo-Carr probably doesn't make much of a difference, but I think
it was the fact that the Doggies he wasn't, doing a great deal in the Doggy side, but he wasn't able to last year. He's still proven that he's at an Origin level. He's the right guy, but hopefully he gets a go. He might come back just before round 13 and be able to prove himself in one game. But I think they'll probably go with To'o and Suwali, or that's the way I'd go. But they might chuck Graham in there.
I think Campbell Graham on the wing is a really good shout. Suwali. He hasn't been playing well this year. He's a great player, and I see the potential, but
I like him from the back, playing on the wing. He's playing in centres. I think if he's playing, he likes playing fullback. If he can play on the wing, he gets to return the ball. And when he returns the ball, he's got those bloody high knees that are very hard to tackle, which I think should almost be illegal the way he runs sometimes when he's returning the ball. But he's got a lot of skill, so he can do anything, that fella. I'd be giving him a go.
You did talk about Hopgood before, 53 points. I assume he will update a little bit, but
probably played around 70 minutes, I think, just from what I watched.
Yeah. Are you concerned a little, or because the minutes are there, you're happy to hold tight?
I'm not concerned. The fact that he's back into the starting side, I think he's fantastic. It would have been nicer to get a bigger score out of him this week, but I don't think he's that much of a sell if you've held on to him, especially with him now getting started. There's a lot of people that were happy to hold on to him coming from the bench, so it's only better signs.
Yep, very good. Jacob Preston with a 60 looks good. Looks nice play every week. Reed Marnie, 37. He's doing Reed Marnie things, Timmy.
Wow, that was tough. The Spy wrote a really, really interesting article that he's popped out on Twitter and probably a few other social areas that I encourage them to go have a read. You can probably find it on his Twitters or, probably the SC Playbooks socials as well. He was running with the idea of he owns did own Grant and Marnie, and was sort of doing the maths and that Grant has, proven that he can sort of slow down a little bit before and after the Origin. And was thinking that it might be a better hold to stick with Marnie for the coverage as well. It looked like a bloody slam dunk after Harry Grant scored 31 this week, trading out Harry Grant instead of Reed Marnie, but Reed Marnie pretty much only beat him by, 6
points,
B-stick, So he's so up and down, but I mean, he sort of said in the post-match game, he just tried too hard today against his old club. He wanted to do too much, and he sort of made too many mistakes trying too hard. I think he'll bounce back from that. Would I buy him if I don't have him? Not yet. Maybe closer to Origin. But yeah, I can understand why the Spy would, if having them, selling one. Like I wouldn't be selling Grant at this point because I've got him and what's his face?
Sonny Luke.
Yeah. But in that position, his article is really good and it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's a good read. But yeah, look, Reed Marnie will pick that up. That was below his standards, and yeah, he's hurt me in the past, but I think he'll have a better year this year than at the Eels because he's got a different role. He's got more of a running role, more of a ball playing role where he's one of the guys. He's one of their main focal things there, and without having Burton and Flanagan, who aren't overly dominant, and even Hayes Perham not that dominant. When he was at Para, he's got Mitch Moses, Gutho, and Brown to sort of feed. So I just think he will have a better year. It's just tough that his side are struggling so much. I think that's what's hurting him the most, just the amount of injuries that are happening around the Doggies and Reed Marnie's side has hurt him a bit. But hopefully they can get some players on the field moving forward and keep him on there, and that'll help him out.
You're leaving very lucky. You're not leaving me with much to say, eh? Like,
Sorry, mate.
No,
you can say you agree.
I'm looking at points to jump in, and I'm like, nope, you're still going.
No, I'm a babbler.
Bryce Cartwright come off the bench, 32 points. I sold him this week. I didn't feel great about it, but I think if that's what's going to happen going forward, I'm pretty happy with it.
Disallowed try. You almost had a try there with someone running into Reed Marnie, which was an obstruction play. Yep. Might have gone close to scoring anyway, but it was a clear obstruction. But yeah, yep. Looks all right. Still off the bench, though. If he's coming off the bench, it's time to sell. Yep. I think he will be off the bench again, though, next week by the looks of it. Yeah, of course. And Dylan Brown, 58. I mean, Moses. I'll take that. It was a pretty nothing game for him. There's a couple of forced dropouts and tackles and a few runs from him.
Moses had the try assists and the goals, but Dylan Brown had nothing and still scored 58. So I'd take that. And I did hear
he's been doing it too often, though. You know, it's been the last sort of 4 weeks. I've only brought him in this week, but he's sort of just doing his base performance at the moment.
Yeah,
there's more to come, though.
I did hear someone say the other week that they think Moses is the bully for the weaker sides, whereas Brown's
was that
the
Hadley? Because I heard that as well and don't remember who said that. I think it might have been Hadley.
Probably was Hadley.
And I reckon he's got a good point. I think Dylan Brown does like to take he's a bit of a glory boy, as I said in the chat. He likes to sort of
Moses is the glory boy, but I think with Dylan Brown.
That's what I meant, Mitch Moses. Yeah, so that's what I meant. Mitch Moses is a glory boy. He likes to have all the big moments, and when it does get a bit tougher, I think
they're less likely to play eyes up footy when they're playing more structured sides, better sides. They do their backline plays, which Dylan Brown is very heavily involved in, and he gets a try assist in that regards. Whereas Moses is always calling the ball against the weaker sides and looking for the low percentage play, and most likely gets it most of the time. But you were talking about Harry Grant versus Reed Marnie, origin, sell, blah, blah, blah. Harry Grant, I actually think he's right in, like, maybe Harry Grant is a sell after next week when he does have to buy. When he does have to buy.
I might look to go to another guy. I don't know whether it'll be Reed Marnie or another guy who plays, maybe a Jerry Marshall King. He didn't have a great one. Maybe do the Warriors play that first buy? Is Wade Egan back by then?
They do. I don't know. It's his second concussion in like 3 weeks, so I don't know if he does play. But there is a handful of options. There's, Brendan Hands. If you already have another gun, there's
he started today only because Josh Hodgson had a stomach bug, I think. So he scored pretty well. 50 playing. He played 80 minutes.
Yeah, but they look way better with Brendan Hands at hooker.
Yeah, I'm with you.
In my opinion. So hopefully it's kind of like the Penrith hooker pairings. Like Sonny Luke makes Penrith look better, but because he's not getting the time, they're not nailing it straight away. I think
we do all right for Power, giving them Hopgood and Bloody Hands. They're some nice additions they've taken from the nursery.
Penrith boy, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. We got a comment.
Dominic's College.
We got a comment here from AJW. Hey guys, first time I've seen you live. Really enjoy listening to you. Hope you both well. Looking forward to the Eagles play next week with Garrick back in. Should get some points with a winky face.
Nice comment. Yeah. Cheeky.
I like that comment. AJW, reach out. We'll give you thanks.
We'll give you a thanks.
Oh, no. I just want to see what their name is because it just says AJW. So
you wouldn't mind that top 111 drink bottle that's sitting behind you, mate. It's a trophy, can you?
That's rank. I had like pre-workout sitting in it for like.
Have you noticed that drink bottle leaks? It's not very good to use. It's more of, I found it just has to sit on the...
rank. That's rank.
Yeah, mine leaks. I don't know whether they are all faulty, but mine leaks. So don't use it. But it's just a bit of a
Maybe because you're first, they just gave you the shit one because they know that this
No,
prize.
that was last year. That was last year's one. I didn't get a drink bottle. I got a key ring in 2021. They swapped the key rings for the drink bottles last year. Yeah.
Oh, I don't mind the drink bottles, but I don't know. I like the key rings. I think the key rings bring back a bit of nostalgia, eh? But I guess that's it.
You sounded like Trent from Punchy, eh?
Trent from
He
was good.
Yeah, no, what a classic. See if we can get him on the pod. I actually know the bloke.
You actually?
Yeah, he's in Bondi Hipsters and stuff. He's an actor. So yeah, I've actually been on one of their Bondi Hipster things as an extra. But he's a good bloke. Maybe I think he loves his footy. We'll see what happens. Maybe
that was all. I remember when that came out. Everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's a bogan," but then
I did too. I back in the day didn't know him until later. So
yeah, rumors come out that it was fake, and it was fake.
Yeah. He was just putting on a show. Yeah, it was great. It's like he was like doing TikToks before people were doing TikToks.
Yeah. There's a few of them going around. But yeah, guys, we're Picklevet Studios in 2 weeks. Very excited for that. We're talking about TikTok. We're on after the John Bernard show, which is his primetime show. I don't know if you've heard of John Bernard, but he's the COVID numbers guy, and he's doing really good content at the moment. The guys that do the bloody Buzz Rothfield, Braith and Asta, what's the Braith Anopoulos or something?
Oh, I love them. They're great. They're fantastic.
Yeah, so you'll get to meet them, Timmy. Very excited.
Oh, will I? Oh, they're going to be there.
Yeah. Well,
that's exciting.
Their show is going to be right before ours every week, so get to know them on a first name basis, I guess.
And try to get a sneaky extra role.
Yeah, you might get an extra role on their show. New listener, both seem like Jesus, the Rich Suka.
Loving the new listeners. Those old listeners better pick the guys we've had from day one. You need to pick your game up.
Nice comments. Jesus.
No, it's very nice. Very nice.
Connor, good job, guys. You can have tomorrow off. Jesus, I'd love tomorrow off, wouldn't I?
It wouldn't be too shabby. I'm having Monday off on round 10. I'm going to be a big magic round. I'm going to try and make a name for myself. Hopefully I don't streak. I can do some wild things on the beers. Yeah.
Do we have to decide whether I'm going to Magic Round or not? I've kind of got to.
It's expensive. I just booked flights and it cost me nearly $500. Had I done it about a week ago, it would have cost me about $250. So that hurt.
Yeah,
I was going to drive the work van, but the boss said no.
Oh, did he actually say no?
Yeah, asked.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. It's work van. No worries, mate. Manly supporter since I was a kid. Leaving OS. Hey, Timmy, I sent you a DM on Discord, but I guess you're busy dude this year. Anthony AJW. Don't take offense. He's not replying because he's not looking at it because I think Discord.
I'm not in the hub. What's going on there? Where'd that come
from? Yeah, you're probably in the hub.
Not on the. I've disconnected from Discord. I'm not logged out of it. The only reason I've logged out is because it's automatically logs in on my computer, and every time I want to quickly jump on the KO, I've got to close that off. And yeah, I'm not really on the Discord this year. If you want to hit me up, mate, grab me on the socials at the SC Lurker.
I really want to get my head around Discord because I think there would be benefits in.
It's just too confusing for me. There's too much going on. I don't know how to use it. I'm not great with technology, so I keep it simple. I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and that's all I've struggled to use.
You got to get on Instagram, mate. Instagram and TikTok.
I'm an old man.
All right, guys. Cheers for tuning in. I know it's been a pretty basic wrap up. There's not much to talk about in wrap up. We're all tired from the weekend, so we're on our last legs before going into Monday. But we will be back on Tuesday for a very good episode. Very excited for Tuesday to see what next week brings. But we are once again in the Picklevet studio on Wednesday following. We're very excited about it. And
we're doing the Wednesday because of Anzac Day in 2 weeks. So we'll shift to a Wednesday for that week, but it'll be Tuesdays going forward again.
Yeah, that's it. Very excited for that. And honestly, it's probably not going to be much difference for the audio listeners if you only listen on audio. But if you do watch it on your TV,
I think I cut you off less when we're together. I sort of cut you off a fair bit when we're on the Zoom, and I think we also get a better when we're together, we seem to have we bounce off each other a bit better.
Yep.
There's a better vibe.
That's a massive reason why we want to. Why
so
we
I think the audio
want to
listeners will pick that up, and there will be a win for the audio listeners once we move into studio as well.
That's true, but it will be a massive win for the people that do watch because it will be a great setting. But we won't forget about you guys who comment very regularly on the things. We'll make sure to keep an eye out for that and answer the questions when we're on that. But cheers, guys, for tuning in, and good luck with lockout. Hopefully your rank is good.